Namaskara, my dear friends. Hope all of you are doing good. And yeah, wear mask and stay safe. And yeah, today we are going to start off with maths pedagogy. And one of the key concepts is methods of teaching mathematics. This is a part of your CTET 2020 syllabus, which is very, very important, as you know. And being a teacher, you should be very much thorough with these teaching methodologies, right? And for each subject, there is a different method of teaching. If it is maths, there's something else. If it is English, we have other teaching methods which, more prioritization is given to these methodologies when you start teaching children. And you have to keep these methods or approaches in mind while teaching children. And yeah, coming to me, I am Savitri Devi, as I said, and warm welcome to our achalagyaan mountain full of knowledge, my dear friends. So, coming to me, I'm an author, educationist, teacher, trainer, online educator, and currently working as a vice principal in one of the reputed colleges in Hyderabad. And yes, I'm also on an academy with 1 million minutes watch time too. And coming to this is my mail ID. You can reach out to me on this mail ID, and this is the book I've authored, a one-stop solution for all your queries on child development pedagogy. So you can purchase it on Amazon, Flipkart, and Provis. And coming to our topics, what we are going to discuss in moving ahead. As of now, I'm going up with teaching methods. Moving ahead, we'll be completing complete maths pedagogy, whatever concepts about curriculum, everything will be covered, right? So let's start off. So coming to methods, see, every teacher teaches maths, right? A maths teacher especially. But there's always this question, how do I make my children learn maths well? Isn't it? So, even as a parent, you might be thinking, as a teacher, but especially a teacher would think, have all these questions in her mind. And this is a solution which every teacher wants to find a solution for, isn't it? So there are different methods of teaching maths, and they have been proposed by different educators. Like we said, what we have to keep in mind while teaching children is if we should not fix ourselves to one method of teaching, right? And a teacher, what should she do? There should be something like, we have to take into consideration the nature of the child, their interest, the maturity, the resources available. All these things constitute a good teaching methodology, is what I can say. So moving ahead, we will be talking about different teaching methodologies. As this is the first video, I'm just giving you an idea of what kind of approaches are available and all those things, but we will be focusing on seven key methodologies here in our maths pedagogy concepts. So, and when I'm talking about each method, every method has its merits, demerits, and everything, right? And some of them, for example, when we go with lecture method, inductive method, deductive method, heuristic method, are they as useful as they are supposed to be for while teaching maths, is what we are going to see, right? And apart from that, we also have few more methods like synthetic method, project method, brainstorming, think pair churning, something called problem solving approach. Then we have total physical response. There are many more. Okay, we'll be discussing as and when moving ahead. So and all these methods, when we are talking, they are, like I've been saying, will not be equally appropriate and suitable for all levels of maths teaching. And my dear students, whatever I'm saying, most of it I try to put it like as if I'm teaching, whatever is possible, I put it on the screen so that it is helpful for you later too. Okay, to make your notes and all, this will be extremely helpful. So that is the reason why I tried to put whatever I had in mind, I tried to put it in the presentation so that it's helpful for you. Yeah. So coming to the methods, what kind of method, how should the teacher select her method? She should select the method so that in such a way that there is maximum participation of the child. Hmm? If you're in your class as a teacher, do you want your child to participate more, or sorry, I mean your children to participate more, or a few less participation would you would enjoy as a teacher? Obviously, you want a lot of participation from your children. And when you're moving to concepts, it's always essential as a teacher, you should remember that we should move from concrete to abstract concepts. The basic concrete which the child can see, for example, if I'm talking about balls, and then imagine initially what is concrete, something that is visible to their eye object. When you're teaching in that manner, it becomes easy for them. Then slowly you can move to the abstract concepts, right? And for example, hypothesis and all those aspects is in a later stage. Initially, tell them that is very concrete, and provide knowledge at the understanding level. So as a teacher, it is very essential for us also to keep in mind key that the child is he able to understand what you're saying. Is his chronicle age, that is, or his mental age, are in on the same pace? If he's unable, if he's basing on his age factor or his mental age, he should be able to understand what is being said, na? So all these things have to be kept in mind. So today we are going to talk about the methods of teaching maths, in which the lecture method is what I'm going to focus now on. So this is also called the teacher-centered method, the most famous method, especially be it any subject. All these years, last 20 years before that, most of the time it was the lecture method. Over a period of time, there's been so much of change in our teaching methodologies that people have started using the other methods also, more than the lecture method. So teacher is a very active participant in a lecture method, and student a passive learner. That means he's more in the listening mode, right? And the teacher is the one who's always speaking. For example, let's take our video. Yes, here it's almost a lecture method. You are a passive learner, right? So I really don't know what's happening at your end. It's you who has to take the initiative to listen to this video, right? So, Jesse, like I'm saying, the lecture method is the most widely used for presentations. And now that I'm going with presentation, yes, I would prefer this lecture method, right? And every teacher has to know how to develop and present a lecture. This is the basic thing a teacher should know. They also must understand the scopes and limitation of this method. So it's very essential that if I say lecture method is the best method, I can't say rote, but to some extent it is absolutely useful also. Especially when you are trying to introduce topics to children, they are, they do not have an idea of what you're going to really say. So it's always better when you're introducing new topics, or you're trying to summarize things, or show relationship between theories and practicals. When you're trying to emphasize on the main points of what you have already taught, then this method of lecture method is absolutely very, very useful. It may be used to introduce a unit or complete course. That is one of the thing. So I can say lecture method, especially for high school children, or the when you're going for UG programs or graduate programs, for PG programs, for them it is very, very beneficial, in fact. And finally, lecture method can be effectively combined with other teaching methods to give added meaning and direction. So when we are talking about lecture method, teacher through lecture method is favored by most teachers. All the teachers generally they love to go with, because it is uninterrupted, है ना? The success of the teacher lecture method depends on the teacher's ability to communicate effectively with the class. The teacher, it all depends on the teacher. I might go with lecture method, but it all depends on my teacher how I communicate it. If I communicate it rightly, interestingly, obviously I can retain the interest of my learners. If I'm unable to go with my lecture method effectively, then it's hard to retain the interest, because our children are passive learners and they easily get distracted, isn't it so? You got their attention span is very less, so you have to keep them engaged. You have to put your content in a very interesting way, then only this works. Well, it has its own advantages and disadvantages, and as a teacher, for you, your feedback about what you're saying, this is this students, reaction or response, their mannerisms, their, are they taking notes? It's all more on the facial expression that you can guess out कि they have understood the concept or not. The successful teacher will be able to interpret the meaning of these reactions and adjust the lesson accordingly. The teacher, when can I say that my teacher is very successful? Only when I know the pulse of my student, right? So I know that yes, he's able to understand. If not, how simpler can I teach the concept? So this is one of the ways. So this all happens in a classroom environment. But now if it is online, it's really challenging for a teacher to go with the lecture method and try to guess the pulse of the students, whether they're understanding or not. So she has to regularly interact with them and check with them if they're understanding the concept or not. So the following four steps are followed in the planning phase of preparation. So when I'm going for preparation of my lecture method, there are four key points that I should keep in mind as a teacher. Firstly, I should establish the objective and desired outcomes. What is my objective? By teaching this concept, what is it that my outcome is? That I have to plan. Then I have to research on the subject which I am about to teach, and then I need to organize that material also properly and plan productive classroom activity. Okay, in a classroom, that is what is required. You need activities also, right? So this is how it is. And coming to the advantages, let's see. So advantages of lecture method, it gives the teacher the chance to expose students to all kind of material, isn't it? And what happens, it also allows the teacher to precisely determine what is the aim, what is the content, what kind of presentation, all these things. These are some of the advantage. And if the teacher poses it in an interesting way, obviously the subject will be very interesting. And she can do one thing is she can complement and clarify the text material. Then it becomes an advantage by taking the lecture method. And one major advantage of lecture method is you can cater to a huge number of audience. When you're going, and if it is attractive and brief, people will surely listen to it. And especially, just like I said, majorly useful for high school children. And if you're talking about disadvantages, yes, mm, uh, here the students are placed in a passive rather than an active role, so that hinders learning. We can't retain the interest of the students for a long time, children. So that point is to be taken care of. And it is more a one way communication. Therefore the lecturer must make a conscious effort every time to become aware of their students problems or issues, or have they understood the content, with verbal feedback and all these things to be taken care. If not, it becomes a disadvantage with lecture method. So that's all for today, my dear friends. And if you have any queries, yes, feel free to write down to me in the comment section. And only then I'll be also, like we said, I need your verbal feedback here so that I'll be able to do better. Okay, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to follow the links below in the description. And you can also purchase this book. Apart from maths pedagogy, I've also been teaching English pedagogy and child development pedagogy, and moving ahead, yeah, some grammar part as well. So why don't you just have a look at all my playlists, right? See you then. Take care. Bye bye, and don't forget to subscribe and like my video.